Thanks, Bob. And you are on the Senate side, and just for the record, I am U.S. Senator John Tester, because we don't want to make the same mistake that representative from the House did. It is great to be here. It is great to be here. Nancy Stevens, where are you at? She's there. Well, anyway, we want to say thank you to her. It is great to be here today. As was said before, I do have a bachelor's in music. I'm a former teacher. I still try to play trumpet, not as well as Bob said I did, but still try to do it. And don't hold this against me. I'm a perpetual Elvis Presley fan. Yeah. But I just want to talk about how music's affected me, and then I want to talk about how it impacts this country, because quite frankly, that's the reason you're here, and I'm glad you're here. This is a good-looking group, probably all A students. I wasn't that way. Started out school and was average at best. Wasn't very highly motivated. Whoever's fault that was, I'll take most of that blame. Had basic general music in elementary school, but nothing too cool. And in 5th grade, they started band. And in 5th grade, I started playing trumpet. And my folks had always said to me, you're going to have to do something very, very well. We want you to be the best at something when you go to school. Trumpet was that best. It motivated me to the point where I got better grades in school. I actually started to play sports better than I used to play before. And quite frankly, put me in a position so that I had enough self-confidence, because when I was a freshman in high school, the senior first-chair trumpet player, who was a genius, I beat in a challenge. So I beat the smartest kid in the school. And so that gives you self-confidence. It gives you the ability to do anything, and ran for student body president. Never been elected to anything in my life, and won. And was able to take that experience and go to college, get a degree in music, go back and teach in that very same elementary school where I learned, and be able to see the looks on those kids' faces when you turned them on to music. And it was absolutely unbelievable. Went back to the farm, was able to have enough self-confidence, enough self-assuredness that we converted 30 years ago, converted to organic, something that was totally out of the mainstream. But we were able to do that because of music. Was able to, in 1998, bring myself to the point where I was going to be able to run for the state Senate. And the tough part about that is that you have to go knock on people's doors and sell yourself to them. You have to have a level of belief in yourself. Music gave me that level of belief in myself to allow me to go do that. So, when you're here and you're moving around on Capitol Hill, what you're doing is very, very, very important for the country. I'm sure not every senator has the story that I just told you, because music's not something that can be clearly defined. It's woven in the threads of life that we live. It does distinguish us from the animals. It does underlie our humanity. It does allow us to express our emotions, the arts do. And they also serve an important role in education, like I just told you. I'm not out of the mainstream at all when it comes to that. And with education, and with a good education, comes an improved economy. So a few years ago, the White House partnered with groups like the Americans for the Arts and the National Endowments for the Arts on an initiative called the Turnaround Arts Initiative. Yeah. They aimed to stress the theory that arts education could have an impact in revitalizing students who weren't doing so well. And so they picked out 8 schools. One of them was in Montana, Lame Deer School. Now, this is a poor school. 100% of the kids are on reduced or free lunch. Doesn't achieve very well. They've got some real issues. So they put in an arts program there. They hired 5 new art specialists just for Lame Deer to give nearly an hour of arts a day of instruction. And teachers begin to integrate the arts into their courses, like math and English, science, history, all of them. And after 2 years, fancy this, math proficiency at Lame Deer improved by 40%. Those of you that are in the arts, particularly music, know that math and music are attached at the hip. There's no doubt about that. So that's really not surprising. What is surprising, for me anyway, that it was only 6 out of 8 schools. Should have been 8 out of 8. What is surprising also is that 7 out of 8 schools had improved reading proficiency. It's incredible. I mean, it's so important about the roundedness of the person, the whole of the person. So thank you for what you're doing here. And that's one of the reasons that the Every Student Succeeds Act is a good bill, a step in the right direction, because it includes the arts in the definition of a well-rounded education. Aside from the obvious, it also allows local school districts to tap into one of the biggest federal funding pools in Title I and Title II for arts education. Establishes arts education grants. Just put it this way, it's a good program, because just as we saw in Lame Deer, you're going to see in schools across this country, as school boards, and I was a school board member at one time, by the way, just as school boards hit financial crunches, they take out physical education and they take out the arts, and that's just the wrong direction to go. So, ESAC also incentivizes schools to not only offer STEM, but STEAM, including the arts, to make sure that we have the arts when it comes to engineering and technology and science and all this good stuff. And you know, folks, and some of you that are in the arts may hit this, that are in college. You know, you can't make a living at the arts. And I'm here to tell you that money does not equal happiness. And that is a fact. And I'm going to tell you that the ability for you to go out and get an arts degree, or at least get educated in arts, is going to provide huge benefits for you moving forward. Because it teaches you how to think differently. The arts do. It values creativity over replication. It values innovation over routine. And trust me, if a student can master skills like this, they will never have to live off of mac and cheese or ramen packets. And someone who's here today from Montana that I want to recognize, Arlene Pariseau, are you here? God, I hope she's here. I was waiting for you to ask for Montana because I was going to cheer, okay? Well, let me tell you what Arlene has done. She is the State Arts Advocacy Captain for Montana, and until recently she was Director of Workforce Development and Two-Year Education for Montana University System. She's written and presented all over the country about the relationship between economic growth and the creative economy. More than 10 years ago, she published a report for the Montana Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity that found that creative enterprises were one of, if not the largest driver of Montana's economy. That's Montana I'm talking about, okay? Not exactly known for the arts. And in response to these findings, Arlene developed a program at MSU Great Falls to bolster creative enterprises and help turn artisans into entrepreneurs. I want to close with one story, because it kind of wraps around what Arlene's done in what you're doing here today. It's been some years ago, we had an economic development summit in a town not far from where I live, where I farm. In that summit, smart people were there, and they talked about what it took to have a vibrant economy in rural America. Now, some of you are from the cities, but I think it applies to the cities too, by the way, because if it works in rural America, it will work in the cities. And so they had their papers up on the board, they had their Sharpies, and they said, okay, what's the number one thing that businesses are looking for to locate in your community? And I'm thinking, God, you know, fair tax system, lack of, you know, reduced regulation. Well, the first thing they put up there was K-12 education. Got to have a good public education system, or nobody's ever going to move to your town. They're not going to bring their family here. That was number one. Number two was you got to have a good higher education system, because if a business moves to your community, they want a well-trained workforce. That was number two. Now, we haven't hit the ones I've hit yet. Jeez. So what do you think number three was? Arts. Number three was the third thing in economic driver for a vibrant economy. That's a fact. Do not shortchange what we're doing here. It is important. If we want to be the leading economy in the world, we can't forget about arts. But the most important thing, and it's why I applaud every student who's going to school and college here, the most important thing, and I'll just tell you this, and I do have a minor in psychology, so I can say this. Without the arts, your happiness will be surely diminished. It is critically important as you go through life, if you're going to have a quality life, and I don't give a damn how much money you make. The importance in this world as we go through it is that we are happy with who we are, and the arts will make you happy with who you are. God bless you all.